Hey guys, welcome back. For the last 25 years of investing, I've never received any sort of marketing material from a company I've owned in the stock market until just recently. So let's get into it. Now, you guys can probably guess which company this is if you've been watching my channel from time to time, and it's Tesla, okay? Tesla, for the first time, I think, at least the first time I've ever received anything from them, they sent me a brochure, nice and colorful, from I think like my brokerage or through my brokerage, something like that. Somehow they got my address and they want me to vote on the good old Elon Musk pay package. Now, what are my thoughts on this pay package? I'll show you the brochure, and it's really colorful, really pretty. And we'll read through just a couple snippets, and then I'll tell you my thoughts and where I'm voting. Now, to start, the very first thing you see is their fancy cyber cab, which, it's kind of interesting. It's a two-seat autonomous vehicle. I think it's going to have no steering wheel or no pedals, which, I don't know how that's going to fly in a lot of jurisdictions, but it is what it is. It is the future. That is what they're trying to sell when it comes to these votes for Elon Musk and his pet projects. That's what this is really all about. Now, the back of this brochure, it kind of just tells you where to vote. Now, I already had received this email through my brokerage, and I had already voted before I even got this brochure. And then there's a second part here, and it just says, "Dear fellow shareholder, Tesla shareholders face an important choice at this year's annual meeting on November 6th. You will decide on the future of our company and its ability to create a world we've only just begun to imagine at scale we have yet to see. There are 3 proposals on the ballot this year that are critical to securing our vision." And the first one is like the election of 3 directors, and then the approval of A&R 2019 Equity Incentive Plan. I can't remember what that's for. I think I read through them a while ago. And then, of course, Proposal 4, and that is the main reason why they put out this brochure, and it is the approval of the 2025 CEO Performance Award. Now, they do show a couple other parts of the brochure. They show you like the pre-2018 award and today's award that's being fought in the Delaware Supreme Court, which he did hit all these milestones. And the next milestones are pretty much the same thing. It's kind of an out-of-this-world target that no one thinks he'll actually reach, or Tesla will. And but in my opinion, I think they will reach these marks. Okay. And then it looks like they've got their little robot here, the Optimus robot. Our next phase of growth is even more ambitious, which I do agree. It is an ambitious target, and it's going to be interesting. And I think this is the main reason why this vote is extremely important when it comes to Tesla. And then their last slide is more just this crazy idea of this robo-taxi van, which I don't think that's ever going to become a reality. We'll see what happens. It would be kind of cool to see these things rolling around a city and you just jump in one and, go wherever. Now, what are my thoughts on this vote? And did I vote for the package? So, first things first, I'm not a big fan of this brochure. Okay, I'd rather see the company push out marketing material to potential customers, people who have a net worth of a certain amount and have a certain income. I'd rather see them get mailed a pretty brochure of all the cars they sell, Cybertrucks, batteries, whatever it is, solar power, etc., etc. I'd rather see them do that. I'm not a big fan of this, brochure pushing out. They spent money on this. I'm not a huge fan of that. However, I do understand that they are not a good marketing and sales company. They never have been. They are a company of engineers, first and foremost. That's all they care about is engineering and efficiencies. And the best person to lead that is Elon Musk. No matter what you think of him politically or emotionally, whatever you want to think about him, he is an engineer and he knows how to motivate the smartest people in the world at SpaceX, at Tesla, and whatever his other companies he's running these days. He'll probably have another company next year. Who knows? But that is the big reason why I'm voting yes to keep him in place for the next probably 10 years. And Tesla's going to need the top brass engineers to continue the mission to get to this Optimus robot, okay? And the reason why he cares about this vote is because it's all about control. It has nothing to do with the money. He's already worth $500 billion. He could care less about another $500 billion. What does that do? You can't even spend that type of money. It's all about control, guys. And it's about control over the labor market, okay? You know, if you guys paid attention to the politics of what happened between him and Donald Trump, it really all fell through the floor, and he had zero control over politics, over the agenda of the United States government. And now what he wants is control over the labor market, because that is the last stronghold our government has, is the labor market. Okay? They still have control over the tax dollars that come their way. Well, what's going to happen when these machines actually take control as far as the labor goes? The government's going to lose a ton of control, and the voters of Tesla, the shareholders, including Elon Musk, is going to have a ton of control over how labor is operated in this country, and in any country for that matter across the globe. If these engineers are able to pull off what I think they're going to pull off as far as AI, as far as being able to thread a needle with the Optimus robot, I think that is his ultimate goal. He's going to demonstrate this little robot picking up a needle from a desk, potentially. I don't know if it has that amount of capability in the hands. It's all about the hands. That's really what this whole endeavor is all about, is the hands. And take a thread and be able to thread a needle. If that robot's able to do that, it can probably do 90% of the blue-collar work out there. Maybe not complex plumbing, maybe not a few other things, but if it can thread a needle, it can probably do 90% of the work out there. And it's going to control the labor market. And we're going to have to become supervisors in this world and supervise the robots. You know, and the government will get a cut of that supervision. But the government's going to have to change their policy on how they tax companies. If a company has probably a certain labor force of, let's say, 60% robots, they're probably going to tax them at a super high rate to be able to fund their UBI or whatever programs the government's going to have to fund. And that's going to be an interesting battle between the Musks of the world who have controlling operations of these bots. I mean, Elon Musk won't be the only one who has a robot that can automate things. Amazon's going to be doing it. I'm sure a bunch of Chinese companies are going to be doing it, because it's a race. Because whoever gets these bots first, whoever can actually produce manufacturing with robots effectively, they're gonna take the pie. Okay, they're gonna win in the world of AI, of physical AI. And you know, a lot of people are speculative, like thinking it's not going to happen. But guys, it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, it'll happen. And so, you know, unfortunately, yes, Elon's going to get richer, no doubt. I can almost guarantee this is going to pass. I'd be surprised if it didn't. If it didn't, I'm going to be out quite a bit of money. I mean, that stock will be crashing probably to the 200 levels if he's not awarded this CEO package. Now, if he is, I think there's going to be a lot of dilution in the shares over time. But he's got to hit these super high market caps, which is like an 8x from where the stock's trading at today, which, hey, I'll be happy with that. I'm not happy with the concentration and the voting power he will have. However, it's only 25%. He's not going to hold 50% of the voting power. He'll hold 25%. He won't be able to get ousted by, you know, the institutions that'll vote out there. I'm sure most retail voters are going to vote with him. But it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm 50-50 about it. You know, am I super happy about him getting 25% and diluting the shares? Not really, but I don't want him to leave at the same time. I do respect him as a CEO, as a leader, as an engineer, and that's the reason, the sole reason I am voting for this. And yeah, we'll see what the future holds. He does have these dreams about, you know, prosperity for everyone, and we'll have, you know, everyone will be able to get what they want for super cheap prices. I don't know if that's going to be a reality. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, you know, I have to have faith that he does have humanity's best interests in front of us, or behind Tesla, I guess you could say. We'll see what happens, though. But anyways, that's my decision. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think that this robot thing is the future? Are robo-taxis going to take over? Is it going to displace Uber drivers anytime soon? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you guys could, if you like this content, like and subscribe to the channel. Take a look at my previous video. And everyone have a great day. Thanks. Bye.